I'll never forget Robbie saying something along the lines of, "You love mangoes." And I went, "Huh? What?" Rewind 30 seconds, what happened? And then the story about people blame the banana. And I'm going, hang on, that's me. I can't eat bananas either. It spikes my blood sugar. So in 3 months, I went from 7.0 to 5.6, which really shocked me in a good way. Yeah, it was kind of quite liberating to see in such a short time to drop so much weight and without really trying, because I can honestly say I've never been so full in my life. And I lost so much weight. I was 28 basal at night of Toujeo, and I'm now sort of hovering around 14 at night, but that's coming down. The bolus insulin is, that's the one that is the 27, 28. It does vary. Sleep's another one. There's one that's been huge benefit. I was the worst sleeper in the world. I'm now a great sleeper. I wake up and then I go start running and I feel I've got so much energy and I'm always alert during the day. So that sort of brain fog, I don't know how you describe what that is, but I certainly don't have that. I was having signs of peripheral neuropathy in my feet. That's gone completely. And I went to the doctor and I'd already started experimenting without taking cholesterol medication and blood pressure, and bought myself a blood pressure meter, and the cholesterol results without medication for those 3 months were in the perfect range. I can tell you, hand on heart, that doing this diet, those unknown spikes do not exist. I'm an insulin dependent diabetic. I was diagnosed when I was 23, nearly 24 years of age, back in 1987, back in the dark ages. The only thing I remember is making the decision to be intensive in my treatment, but it was sort of like just carbohydrates were just all one and the same, and the least you have of them, the less insulin you have. Back in about March this year, I was, we were going through the start of COVID and working from home, and I was, I'd been pretty much frustrated for a couple of years about the whole having diabetes and the lack of the ability to control, even though I'd pride myself on being well controlled. I think bubbling under the surface, I was pretty frustrated, and I went along to my GP, and he just dropped a name in our meeting. Then his name was Drew Harrisberg, and he said, "Go look him up." So, cut a long story short, I went looking for him online, signed up for his newsletter. I saw that he was on a podcast with a guest of a podcast of Simon Hill. So, hence I found Simon and listened to the podcast with Drew. And in that podcast, they referenced Robbie and Cyrus. And I went, oh. So I went looking through the list of the index of Simon's podcasts and found Robbie and Cyrus and found Will Bulshewitz as well. And started listening to them. And I remember clearly mowing my lawn and listening to the podcast and sort of drifting in and out of the conversation, and then hearing Robbie's and Cyrus's story, and how Cyrus was about the same age as I was when he was diagnosed, and then I got my attention. And then I'll never forget Robbie saying something along the lines of, "You love mangoes," and I went, "Huh? What?" Rewind 30 seconds, what happened? And then the story about people blame the banana, and I'm going, hang on, that's me. I can't eat bananas either. It spikes my blood sugar. And so rewind the whole thing and start again and listen. And that's how it got me. So those two little comments sort of got me thinking further and further. And I went back to Simon, listened to some of his stuff, and then I went to listen to Dr. B, and then Dr. B was interviewed by Robbie and Cyrus, and it was like this never-ending loop, and everything kept on coming back to whole food, plant-based diets. And I thought, oh my God, here I am. I'm the committed meat-eating, typical sort of 50-something-year-old male. Never even thought of being eating this way. And then the book arrived for me because I'd ordered it and arrived for me, and I'd sort of already started this journey. And then it was like, oh, this is how they say to do it anyway. Start with breakfast, even though I was intermittent fasting and anyway, and because I was trying to lose weight. So in 3 months, I went from 7.0 to 5.6, which really shocked me in a good way. Yeah, it was kind of quite liberating to see in such a short time to drop so much weight and to, without really trying, because I can honestly say I've never been so full in my life. And I lost so much weight. So, and in fact, my wife's saying to me, stop, that's enough. So, I get up and exercise in the morning, and I either go for a run every second day, and I walk 10,000 steps every other day. And so I'm constantly moving on a daily basis. So often I would wake up, but by the time I test, if I tested early, my fasting might be sort of 7 or 8 or 9, and then the dawn phenomenon would come along, and I'd be 10, 11, 12, and if I'd go and exercise, it'd even spike further, and that was frustrating, and that was part of the underlying frustration. And now my fasting blood glucose is, in the 4 or 5 range, consistently. And now I use the chronometer, and as per recommendation of the boys, and I measure it, and my insulin sensitivity, like as yesterday, was around 27, 28 carbohydrates to 1. So I've halved I was 28 basal at night of Toujeo, and I'm now sort of hovering around 14 at night, but that's coming down. But I'm slowly doing that. And yeah, and then the what do you call it? The bolus insulin is that's the one that is the 27, 28. It does vary. Sleep's another one. There's one that's been huge benefit. I was the worst sleeper in the world. I'm now a great sleeper. I wake up and then I go start running, and I feel I've got so much energy, and I'm always alert during the day. So that sort of brain fog, I don't know how you describe what that is, but I certainly don't have that. I was having signs of peripheral neuropathy in my feet. That's gone completely. Yeah, that's been fantastic. So, and I'm off the bit, and I went to the doctor, and I'd already started experimenting without taking cholesterol medication and blood pressure, and bought myself a blood pressure meter, and the cholesterol results without medication for those 3 months were in the perfect range, in the good range. As my son likes to comment, every day it looks like I'm eating a whole vegetable patch on a plate. There's so much food, but I'm losing weight. So it's crazy. And my new addiction is banana and ice cream. So not a night goes by without. And I make sure I keep some fat up my sleeve to have natural peanut butter, with just a spoonful of natural peanut butter with the banana and ice cream, and that's it. I was the most committed meat eater in the world, and I still recognise that there are some things that if I had them tomorrow, I would love to eat. But having been a diabetic since 1987, the frustration of the unexplainable highs, that's, where you think you've done everything right, you've done the low carb diet, you've had the right amount of insulin, you've done exactly the same meal as you've done the day before, and you get different results. So when I heard the guys talking about the banana, blaming the banana for the sugar spike, and that stopped me mowing the lawn and got my attention, that for me was the game changer. And I think if you speak to any diabetic who monitors their blood sugar, they will know they might deny it, but they will know that there are those unknown spikes. I can tell you, hand on heart, that doing this diet, those unknown spikes do not exist. The only time I get spikes is because I've forgotten to inject. Like, I'll inject as I'm about to start eating. It's like, and I'm impatient and I want to eat. And then, of course, if you watch it, it'll go up. It doesn't spike out of control like it used to, but it goes up. But if you get the timing right, you just gotta, you pretty much can flatline it the whole way. Yeah, look, it's funny because my two children are, one's 22 and the other one's just turned 20, and they kind of say to me, "Oh, when are you going back, or when are you going to start?" Because I sort of started with the commentary that I'm just trying this to see if it works, and but to be fair, I don't miss it. I don't miss it because I love the predictability of it all. So yes, the answer is if I'm not sort of totally committed to never having something, you know, animal based or dairy or like that, but and I will avoid it, and you know, if I can. But I know I'm committed to this way of eating as, you know, a general, you know, like as a rule, you know, forever. Yeah, because it's the peace of mind's fantastic. Yeah, that's the most amazing part about the whole thing.